After a week-long break, Formula One returns to the track for the Austrian Grand Prix. Ferrari is under close scrutiny this weekend at the 4.318-kilometer Red Bull Ring in Spielberg due to the aerodynamic updates introduced on the SF-25 single-seater. The revised floor is already set to be evaluated during the first free practice session. Charles Leclerc said yesterday he expects some improvements, though nothing dramatic. In short, McLaren remains out of reach, but that was already clear. On the other side, Lewis Hamilton continues trying to carry Ferrari forward. The seven-time Formula One world champion reiterated that changes are being attempted within the Maranello racing department, and he personally aims to be instrumental in shaping the team's future, particularly with the 2026 championship being pivotal due to the incoming technical regulation changes. Ferrari debuted a new floor package at the Red Bull Ring, part of a broader development plan beyond just this event. Updates involved a coordinated revision of the fences, floor body, outer edge, and diffuser. The floor fences were redesigned to better manage vortex generation toward the rear. The central floor section features a new boat-shaped contour with expanded tunnels. The floor edge has been shortened and curved, and the diffuser received a volumetric redesign. All components were re-optimized to improve load distribution across the car, boosting aerodynamic performance throughout its full operating window. Now let's take a detailed look at how events unfolded in FP1 for the Italian side. During the first free practice session in Spielberg, Charles Leclerc did not take part in on-track activity. Instead, Dino Beganovic, a young Swedish driver from the Ferrari Academy, stepped in. He was joined by Lewis Hamilton, focused on developing the car's new floor. Both Ferrari cars began the session on Pirelli's C3 hard compound tires, completing several laps at a consistent speed. Car number 44 featured a prominent aerodynamic rake mounted behind the cockpit, used for data collection. The British driver was instructed to complete 2 laps using the engine 4 inches mode at a controlled pace to ensure smooth, interference-free measurements. The Austrian circuit's layout, with its long straights and fast corners, is particularly suited to aerodynamic testing. Lewis Hamilton then switched to medium tires, aiming for higher grip compared to the hard compound. The rakes installed on the car were used to monitor lateral outwash airflow and verify how cleanly air was directed to the rear end, an element aligning with the analysis of the new floor published the previous day. The device was not positioned behind the front wheels, as that area is too exposed to rolling turbulence. Lewis Hamilton completed only a couple of laps before being called back to the garage due to a potential transmission issue. Despite the setback, during his only full lap, the car appeared well-balanced. After a short pause, the issue was resolved and car 44 returned to the track. Meanwhile, Dino Beganovic's SF-25 was also fitted with the upgraded floor. At this stage, it is impossible to draw solid conclusions. Lewis Hamilton only attempted one more run and maintained a moderate pace. The car setup seemed neutral and his racing lines were clean, but without a full-speed comparison, evaluations remain inconclusive. The next run should offer more concrete insights into the true potential of the updates. Lewis Hamilton rejoined the session, but just as he was about to begin a flying lap, he noticed that the drag reduction system was not functioning. An unfortunate circumstance for the British driver, who could not fully exploit the car's potential. He also reported via radio that tire temperatures rose quickly, an unpromising sign, especially given that he wasn't conducting a long run with heavy fuel loads. Dino Beganovic, in contrast, continued his program without issues, which at least marked a positive note. However, given his limited experience behind the wheel of the SF-25, he too was unable to provide in-depth technical feedback. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton remained in the garage, where for the third time, engineers removed the engine cover to trace the source of the problems. With only a few minutes left, the 7-time Formula One world champion returned to the track, but new braking system issues emerged. In essence, the session proved largely unproductive for the team, hampered by a series of technical problems that disrupted the scheduled work. Valuable time was lost, and the data gathered fell short of expectations, a missed opportunity to assess the effectiveness of the new aerodynamic updates. Looking at how others performed, Mercedes picked up right where it left off in Canada. George Russell was the fastest in the first free practice session of the Austrian Grand Prix with the W16. The Brit impressed with a solid 1.05.542 lap time on soft tires. The Brackley-based team introduced updates in Scuderia aimed at improving reliability, increasing the size of the front brake ducts, and the hot air outlets on the engine cover, following concerns raised by both the works cars and customer teams. George Russell didn't just excel in qualifying simulations. During long runs, both Silver Arrows showed very competitive race pace, including Kimi Antonelli. The young Italian was close to his teammate during the initial soft tire run, but did not complete a second push lap, finishing 11th and about half a second behind George. However, that gap does not reflect the true performance, as the Italian focused more on tire degradation and consistency. Right behind George Russell came local hero Max Verstappen, who placed his Red Bull in second, just 65 thousandths of a second adrift. The four-time world champion had several lockups during heavy braking early in the session, but eventually found the right setup and slotted ahead of both McLarens. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda struggled again, finishing a disappointing 17th, nearly 7/10ths behind Max Verstappen. There was plenty of attention on McLaren after the team failed to reach the podium in Montreal for the first time this season. Oscar Piastri carried out extensive aerodynamic tests with the MCL-39, which was fitted with a new front wing and modified suspension covers. The Woking-based team is working to recover some of the balance lost due to the recent technical directives. On soft tires, Oscar Piastri ended up just 155 thousandths behind George Russell while continuing the experimental work. Returning to Ferrari, the Italian side has introduced a revised floor on the SF-25 in Austria, while awaiting the debut of a new rear suspension set for Spa. This suspension upgrade was initially expected for Silverstone, but has now been postponed by one race. The development marks only a first step, with another, more definitive floor expected before the summer break, a positive sign for the Scuderia. Charles Leclerc himself has admitted he doesn't expect major performance gains from the current updates, even if they are steps in the right direction. What many are not openly saying is that the true new floor should only appear at the Hungarian Grand Prix, the final race before the FIA-mandated summer shutdown. This forthcoming solution, when paired with the new rear suspension, is intended to unlock more of the SF-25's potential. While Ferrari is no longer fighting for the championship, the goal is to join the group of top teams capable of contending for race wins, just like McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes have already done this season. Diego Tondi's aerodynamic team has focused on three key areas of the floor to address the car's lack of downforce. The hope is that the rear suspension will complement these changes, allowing greater flexibility in setting the car's ride height. The visible modifications reflect the latest wind tunnel research. At the entrance of the Venturi channels, a redesigned flow diverter, now more rounded, has been introduced to enhance the quality of downstream vortices. The upper cover has also been reworked to encourage the expansion of the channel and the overall tunnel. With increased airflow comes the need to modify the diffuser expansion as well. This change may appear subtle, but could prove to be the most critical of the update package. There's also been a tweak to the floor edge, the longitudinal wing once nicknamed the Sabre. It now features a slightly shorter chord and greater curvature. It will be intriguing to see what kind of performance impact these upgrades will have on the SF-25.